What's up, everyone? John Rettinger from TechnoBuffalo here at the full review for you of the mid-2010 Apple TV, the first real update that we've ever seen to the Apple TV. Let's go ahead, jump in, and get started. Alright, so before we talk about the Apple TV, talk about the hardware and the specs, and go over the UI, let's talk about how the Apple TV is controlled, your main portal into the device. You will be using this remote. It's the probably now familiar new aluminum remote, which Apple gives an option to buy with all of their desktop and laptop computers. It's replacing this old plastic guy. And certainly from an aesthetic standpoint, the aluminum looks a lot prettier, more Apple-like and such, but it is not very user-friendly. I found the remote to be extremely frustrating when using the Apple TV. It's hard to feel where these raised buttons are, and I keep hitting the middle when I try and hit the button. So keep in mind, you may have some frustration and learning curve when you try and use this new aluminum remote. But enough about the remote, let's go ahead and talk about the Apple TV itself. The UI is very familiar to what we saw on the last generation Apple TV, but it now comes at a much more affordable mainstream price of $99, which puts the Apple TV at more of an impulse buy category. It's something you gotta think about. So if you're like me and you have a lot of components hooked up to your television, you probably weren't excited about the opportunity to hook something else up. The Apple TV now does a lot more than what it used to do. It's still thought of as, let's say, an iPod for your television, a way to get all of your content right onto your television. No longer do we have physical storage here. Everything on the Apple TV is streamed, so you have to have an internet connection. It does have an Ethernet port in the back, and of course, there's 802.11n Wi-Fi built in. So let's go ahead and talk about movies. Movies are one of the great things Apple TV does. You don't have the ability to buy them anymore, but you can go ahead and rent them, and most movies are available the same day as their DVD counterparts. So here you've got Iron Man 2, just came out, for example, Nightmare on Elm Street, which I'm probably going to give a nice rent to tonight, and it's very easy to go ahead and pick one. To go ahead and select a movie, you have the option to preview it and watch the trailer, rent it in full HD, which through the streams video in 720p, it's capable of 1080p playback, but it's not supported, so your videos are going to be in 720p. You can go ahead and add it to a wish list, and if you jump on over to more, which actually took me a couple days to learn, you can view reviews here from Rotten Tomatoes or customer reviews, which is kind of neat. And this works just as the old Apple TV did, and the movies play very quickly. Depending on internet connection, obviously, I've got a relatively fast internet connection. The HD movie is ready to be played within about a minute and a half of hitting the rent. Sometimes a little bit sooner depending on the movie, but certainly not bad, and it's ready to go, and there isn't any buffering time as the movie's playing. It can sort of start playing from there and not have to worry about stopping. This one did not get a high rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Look at that, 13% for Nightmare on Elm Street. And the same thing is true with TV shows. There aren't that many networks supported here. You can go ahead and view networks. It's mostly the Fox and ABC networks here. But there are a few shows, and again, everything here is just to be rented, and it's going to cost you about 99 cents. If we jump on back to movies for a moment, you can sort movies by top movies, genre, search, or even view some trailers for what's in theaters. Apple's real big into movie trailers. You've seen apple.com/trailers. They've got a ton of stuff over there, so it's kind of a nice way to keep up with what's in movies or what you're going to want to watch on your Apple TV whenever it comes out. So this is all pretty standard. We've seen on the old Apple TV. What's new? Let's go ahead and jump on over to internet. Well, radio is here, so you can now listen to your favorite adult contemporary music while you're doing whatever you're doing. There's a decent amount of radio choices here. So the first one is, of course, adult contemporary, and you go ahead and play it, and it'll give you the album information, song information, and just start playing. A few other options in the internet that's sort of interesting as well. Flickr, integrate with your Flickr account. MobileMe, integrate with your MobileMe account, pull in your MobileMe pictures. Podcasts are now here as well, which is a really nice feature I know a lot of people were looking forward to. Go ahead and you can search by top podcasts, genres, providers, or search. If it's on iTunes, it's going to be on your Apple TV. It's a good way to tell if it's going to be there. YouTube, we saw on the old Apple TV. It's here as well. You can search and view your videos. You can log in and even check out your subscriptions. And most notably, the biggest addition now is Neflix. Neflix is here, and it looks very similar to what we've seen on really on any Netflix device, but now with the UI, it looks integrated right into Apple TV. It looks very familiar. So you don't have sort of that red Netflix bar that you get when you're looking at the content on your PlayStation 3, 360, or Wii. It's just really nicely integrated. So you can go ahead and see suggestions for you. You can manage it. You can pick movies right from here. Recently watched, instant queue, new arrivals, and there is a lot of content here, and it loads pretty quickly. As you can see, if you want to get your Family Guy on, go ahead and do so. And it's great to have Netflix here on another device. If you don't have a game console, you're not a gamer, this is a great way to sort of bring Netflix from your DVDs right through the air onto your computer. For me alone, having Netflix is one of the biggest reasons to get an Apple TV for $99. It's just another great way to view your content, especially if you're paying for it, if you're a Netflix user. So we'll go ahead and let this focus again. And we will jump back out of Netflix, and I'll show you what else is here. You can also hook up to computers. So of course, since this is a streaming device, hook it up to another computer using home sharing, whatever sort of networking you have. And you can watch the content that you've downloaded on your computer right to your Apple TV. If you're an iOS user, so if you have an iPod Touch, iPhone, or iPad, with the upcoming iOS 4.2, you'll be able to actually push your content right from your mobile device right to your Apple TV. So if you're on an iPad, you download a TV show and you're halfway through it, you can actually pick it up and resume it all wirelessly right on your Apple TV. Feature's not here yet, but it will be. Settings, go ahead and control a lot of things, control your computers, sort of general stuff. This represents a much better value than the $230-ish previous generation Apple TV. 99 bucks, it's a great way to sort of bring all this content right to your TV. Oftentimes people have on-demand systems, but movies aren't available on all on-demand systems the same day they're available on DVD. And oftentimes the prices can range from $3 to $6, $8, or $9. This with really sort of a set new release price of about $5 or so. It's a great way to watch a movie. You get it for 24 hours. The content is pretty solid, and you don't have to worry about filling up any hard drive space. TV shows, definitely lacking. If you're not a fan of ABC or Fox, there's not going to be that much here for you to watch. Hopefully other networks are going to join. Overall, I've been very happy with the Apple TV. It does pretty much the same thing that I used the old Apple TV for, although now in a much smaller package. And having Netflix is really the big determining factor for me. If you have a Netflix account, I think you owe it to yourself. If you have sort of a $99 that you can afford to spend to get full access to all of your content. I think you'll be surprised at how much you use it. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this review of the 2010 Apple TV. I'm Rettinger from TechnoBuffalo, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.